Warm greetings from the Institute for Democratization and Development. Today, our video is dedicated to the greatest pain of Ukraine in the Russcist-Ukrainian war, a city that until recently was a symbol of the future, and by now 90% of the city has been turned into a ghost city. We are talking about Mariupol. This industrial, infrastructural, and cultural stronghold on the shores of the Sea of Azov is under constant attack by all weaponry in the possession of the occupant. Currently, we can't be certain that there won't be any dreadful breaking news about Maria's city being shelled when this video is released. For almost a month the city was blocked by enemy from all sides. It left people stuck in the city, cut off any humanitarian aid, from where civilian population could not evacuate. Why did the Russian tyrant order his dogs to destroy one of the largest centers of the Ukrainian metallurgical industry? We can only guess. Let's try to explain it. At least, make it clear to us. First of all, Mariupol is almost a line of administrative boundary of the Donetsk region. As you know, terrorists of the so-called DPR after the farce with the recognition played in the Kremlin.
Владимир Владимирович Путин подписывает указ президента Российской Федерации о признании Донецкой Народной Республики.
Demanded to see its quasi-republic within the entire Donetsk region. Employing Putin's demeaning phrase, like it or not, it's your duty, my beauty, Pushilov's criminal group moved to the west of the region. At the same time, the army of the Russian Federation came to the meeting. Probably the enemy hoped that he would be awash with bread and salt. Instead, after being liberated in 2014, every sensible Mariupol resident no longer supported separatist ideas.
Я не хочу жить в России, я хочу жить в Украине. Не хочу никакой тут России, не хочу. Абсолютно не хочу, ни капли.
That was a starting point of Mariupol Ukrainians' genocide, the majority of whom are Russian-speaking. Secondly, the largest port in the Sea of Azov is also a direct land route to the annexed peninsula. Therefore, to get a victory in this direction is to prove to the sugar-madly obsessed fatniks the power and heroism of the Second Army in the world, at least on TV. Thus, imposing brutal siege tactics, they launched attacks on Ukraine's major city, using cluster munitions and the bombing of civilian infrastructure, pursuing dishonest intimidation policy, cutting 500,000 citizens for more than 3 weeks off electricity, power and food. People had to melt snow to get some water and burn furniture to get some heat. The death toll counts thousands of civilians of Mariupol. A 6-year-old child died of dehydration in one of the shelters because of this humanitarian catastrophe. Another shelter in the historic center, under the premise of the drama theater, hiding up to 1,500 people, was deliberately and cynically bombed. Fortunately, it is reported that the shelter has stood and there is hope that all survived. But rescuers still cannot fully begin to remove the debris. Another reason for the barbaric destruction of the industrial center of Donetsk by the Horde is personal revenge on the owner of Azovstal, a well-known oligarch, for his unwillingness to support and cooperate with the Russian occupiers and DNR terrorists.
Украина в опасности, и мы будем делать все для того, чтобы ее защитить. Защитить наш суверенитет, защитить нашу целостность, защитить нашу независимость. Самое главное — людей защитить.
For the first time since 1941, blast furnaces were completely put out at the plant, extinguished in advance, taking into account all environmental safety measures.
Не только оставили тот чугун, который сохранился в Лещине и всегда остается в доменных печах, когда печи останавливают на неопределенно длинный срок.
It would seem that it is more expedient for the invader to keep a powerful competitor for the Lipetsk and Cherepovets metal plants, but the enemy sees one threat everywhere. Special Operations Detachment Azov. That is why he is short-sighted and meaninglessly destroying everything in the besieged city. According to cynical lies of high-ranking Russian officials, who cannot withstand any criticism, the maternity hospital was bombed because the Azov headquarters were deployed there.
В этом родильном доме, мы об этом сказали 7 марта в Совете Безопасности, давно нет ни женщин, ни детей, ни обслуживающего персонала. Его заняли бойцы батальона «Азов», вместе с прочими радикалами устроили там свой опорный пункт.
and all mothers-to-be were just actresses. It is known that one of the expectant mothers will never experience motherhood. The dramatic theater with large inscriptions around the building, children, were blown up by special forces of Azov, according to Russian propaganda. And the authorized freaks are not at all embarrassed by the nature of the destruction, which directly indicates an airstrike, nor the absence of any aircraft in the unit subordinated to the National Guard. But they are very worried about tattoos of residents who decide to leave the city through evacuation corridors. The Russian military examines men's body for patriotic drawings to arrest them. One thing is soothing in all this willfulness. If our enemy has been spending so much time and so many efforts to defeat one regiment, we will definitely survive and win. In the meantime, we pray for Mariupol and confide in our armed forces. Glory to Ukraine!